Hello, welcome back to the channel, and welcome if this is your first time. This is Heather with Creativity by Heather B.E. And today I am showing you a fun card using primarily Lawn Fawn products, but I'm also going to use this Simon Says Stamp Mesh Stencil. So this is a card I put mom on, so this could be a Mother's Day card, it could be a birthday card for mom. You could also switch out the letters that I'm using on the front and make it any type of card that you would like. So I'm going to be doing some ink blending using my Picket Fence life-changing brushes, and I'm going to be spraying the stencil with Pixie Spray. So this is an adhesive spray that you can spray on the back of a stencil, and it's a repositionable sticky that will actually stick to your paper, and you can remove it without it harming your paper or tearing it in any way. You can also re-stick it, as I'm going to show you. So what you need to do is just shake it up really well, and then I usually lay it on a towel just to catch any of the extra that sprays off, especially with a stencil like this. You let it dry for about a minute, minute and a half, and then you have a repositionable sticky on your stencil. So I'm adhering it to a piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock because I am doing some ink blending, and I'm going to pick it up by the paper and show you that it does stick. So before I got this spray, I was using a lot of purple tape to hold my stencils down, and this has helped me to be able to save so much of that. So I'm going to be using some Lawn Fawn colors to ink blend, and the colors that I'm using are Bubblegum, Forget Me Not, and Fresh Lavender. So I decided to use some kind of pastelish colors, although the blue, once it mixes a little bit with that bubblegum, is going to give it a little bit of a darker purple color, which was okay. I was fine with the color. So I am using one of the smaller life-changing brushes because I wanted to be able to have a little bit more control of how much color I put on, and also I'm using ink cubes. So the smaller brushes are definitely better for this. And I have to say, I love this stencil. I have so many ideas and ways that I want to use this stencil. You could do it tone on tone to create some great, just subtle backgrounds. You could use it the way I'm using it here and do ink blending through it. You could foil it with some Deco foil gel. There's so much you could do with the stencil. And as always, stencils are a great inexpensive thing to have in your stash. So once I've got everything ink blended, and I'm not worrying about this being perfect because I'm going to cut it down, and I'm also going to add some glitter glaze on top of it. And there you can see, and I could have just used this as the background, but I decided I wanted to cut it down. So I'm taking my stencil and I'm just turning it around, and you'll notice I haven't put any more spray on it, and I've stuck it back down, and I'm going to show you again how it sticks to the paper, so I don't have to worry about it coming off. Now, because I am using some Brutus Monroe glitter glaze, I am going to use just a little bit of purple tape to tape down the corners. So this is Fallen Snow glitter glaze from Brutus Monroe, and if you've not checked out any of the glitter glazes, they are fabulous. There are so many color options available, and this is clear. It dries clear with a little bit of glitter. So I am using one of the tonic spatulas to add this on. I like using these because they give me a little bit more control. They're flexible. So I just feel like that the glaze goes on a little better. I don't tend to get so much in uneven places. And also to help to kind of flatten it out, I'm also going to use a Thermoweb stencil pal here in a moment. And I also like it that it's very simple. I just take a regular baby wipe and go over it, and it takes all of that glitter glaze off. So this is a Thermoweb stencil pal, and it's great because you can run it over and you know you're going to have even glaze or whatever you're using. It's actually supposed to be used for the Decofoil transfer gel to make it even, but I love using it for this stuff as well. So there you can see some of the shine. And what I did is I cut this down into a square. I'm going to turn it as a diamond. You can see all that gorgeous shine from the glitter glaze over top of the ink blending. I just thought this came out so pretty. And there's so many different, you could use different colors, you could use different glitter glazes. So for my background, I'm going to be using the Lawn Fawn quilted background, and I thought this would look really great with it because it's quilted, so it kind of has that diamond shape, so it will continue on. and I wanted to use just a white for the background, so I just cut that panel out of Nina 80 Pound. And I'm also going to use the Lawn Fawn butterflies, and I cut the back part of the butterfly out of Lawn Fawn Watercolor Wishes, and I used the light purple. And then for the top part of the butterfly, I used MFT vellum, just a clear vellum. And this Watercolor Wishes is one of my favorite of the Lawn Fawn card pads. It's got such really subtle, pretty colors in it, and I really like it. So I decided to cut out the word mom, and I used Quinns capital letters for these. And I cut them out using some Simon Says Stamp glitter stock, but then I also cut them 3 more times using just regular Nina 80 Pound cardstock because I wanted to give the letter some dimension. So I'm going to use my Lawn Fawn glue tube to adhere each piece together. And I use the Lawn Fawn glue tube throughout this entire card is what I used for my adhesive. It just seemed to be the easiest. So there you could see I had the mom all cut out, and now I'm going to adhere the butterfly down. And for the vellum, because I want the wings to stand up, I decided to go ahead and use the glue tube. And when I put it on, I'm going to rub it out with my fingers, you can see there, just to make sure it's even, so that way when it dries, you're not going to be able to see the adhesive. If I was not going to raise up the butterfly wings and make this more 3-dimensional, I would have just run it through my Xyron machine, which is the easiest way to adhere vellum. So there you can see I've got the vellum on top of the butterfly, and I apologize for the lighting. I don't know what was going on with the lighting at that time. My desk is near a window. So the color that I'm going to use is Moonstone by Lawn Fawn, and I wanted to show you, I went through a couple weeks ago and I decided to cut down some of my cardstock, and I just cut down panels into A2 size, and then I used my label maker to label them. So I can easily just pull out any panel that I want, and I didn't cut it all, so I also have full-size sheets if I would happen to need that. It didn't take me very long to cut those down, so that's kind of a quick little tip and idea if you have some extra time sitting in front of the TV. And the color that I chose to put behind this quilted panel is Moonstone from Lawn Fawn. It's a really pretty light blue that I felt would complement the Forget Me Not, and so that's what I'm using for the background, and it does show through the quilted more than you would think it would. You can see there. So once I have the background on, I'm going to adhere my panel that I made using the glitter glaze and also the ink blending, and I'm going to lay that so it's laying out like a diamond. And I'm going to add my letters on, and I'm using the grid from the mesh to make sure that I line those up correctly. So that was a nice little tool that kind of came with part of the card that helped me to be able to line up those letters. And as I said, you could change this out. You could change the colors on this. You could put any name on there that you wanted. You could put thanks. You could put hello. You could use different size letters, whatever works for your card. And on the inside is where I'm going to add the rest of the sentiment, because I didn't want to take away from the front of the card. I wanted the mom to be the focus and also the butterfly that I'm going to add on there. And I'm going to put the butterfly down on the bottom right hand corner. So it overlaps my panel that I ink blended just a little bit, but it's also out on the quilted. And the quilted backdrop is an A2 size die. However, I did cut it down because I wanted some of the white to be showing as a border when I added this onto my card base. So you can see I'm just adding on my butterfly, and I'm going to push it down and then lift it back up with my fingers to give it back that dimension on those butterfly wings. So all that's left now is to put this onto my card base, and as always, my card bases, if I use a white one, it is Nina 110 Pound, and this is A2 size. And this is a side folding card. So I'm just lining that up. Sorry about my head. I was trying to get that centered because I do have that little border from the card base. And for the inside, I decided to use an MFT, My Favorite Things stamp set called All About You. And so on the inside, I stamped, "You deserve to be celebrated." And to stamp that, I just used VersaFine black ink. Whenever I'm doing any type of sentiment, bold sentiment that I'm not heat embossing or doing a color, I like to use this ink because it's very bold. It dries rather quickly, and I always get good results with this. So I'm going to stamp that in the center, and that is the finished card. So this was a very simple card. You could do multiple of these. You could not cut down the background and use the original background that we had and not use the quilted. There's so many varieties that you could do with this. You could leave the butterfly off or add extra butterflies. Whatever you want to do. You could be as creative as you want to be with this. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video and you're not a subscriber, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that little bell so you'll get future video notifications. Thank you so much and have a great day.